Hello YouTube, Dave here again. I wanted to do a video on the subject of starting your own YouTube channel. It's something that I've seen comments before several times in the past where people are like, I really wish I could start my own channel, but it feels a little overwhelming. So I want to kind of talk about some things to hopefully put your minds at ease if you feel concerned or overwhelmed by the prospect of starting up your own channel. So I've watched a few different advice videos from different channels, some really big channels by individuals who basically are career YouTubers. And while a lot of their advice is really good, some of it is kind of unrealistic for the average person. And I think that's where a lot of the overwhelming aspect, or where people really feel like there's no way I can do this, really comes into play. So I want to talk a little bit about that and things to do basically after you've recorded videos, how to kind of follow through with your channel. So the biggest thing is what do you need to record videos? And this is where I think a lot of the larger channels that try to give, for better or for worse, trying to give out, sound advice for, creating a YouTube channel. But they focus a lot of times on the equipment that you need, and they really make the impression that you need high-end, fancier, expensive equipment in order to record videos. And I just want to say from the, for me personally, that is definitely not the case. A lot of these channels talk about having, like high-end HD cameras that cost, a couple $1,000s, studio lighting, high-end audio recording equipment, and, expensive or fancy editing software. And you don't need that. So for me personally, for example, when I first started my channel, this is what I recorded my videos on. This is this is just a picture camera that has the ability to take audio and video. So this is what I recorded through. The audio in my videos was the audio recorded through this, which made things kind of difficult because the microphone is right on the top there, where I would naturally sometimes put my finger when I was speaking. So my fiance had to help me do a little bit of voiceover to fix those things, but this is what I used. There's only one video I think where I actually had to do voiceover work, so and I didn't really enjoy it. So this is what I used. Just again, fancy basic camera. Even the camera that I have now is just a small handheld, like handy cam. The name of it's, I think, Sony Bloggy, so it's an older camera, but for me it does the trick. So if you're worried about having expensive video equipment, you don't need to. In fact, there are smartphones now with cameras probably better than the one that I'm using to record. So that's all you really need. You can use the audio through that. That's fine. For lighting, I used to use halogen spotlights that you may have seen in like construction sites, but I gave up on those. And the biggest reason is that they were kind of a pain to set up or deal with. Excuse me. Where I used to live, I recorded a lot of videos down in the basement, where I had all my gaming stuff set up. So for the most part, I just left the lights there because I was the only one that ever went down in that room. And I would have the lights kind of set up opposite each other enough to the point where the lights would kind of cancel each other out, so wouldn't leave too many shadows. After we moved, it was difficult to find a place with that kind of setup, so I just stopped bothering. Excuse me, I'm still trying to get over a cold. The videos, or sorry, the lighting that I was using when I first started was one of those spotlights at least, but I found it was giving off a lot of shadows, and those things get hot. I mean, these are things that used to light up again like construction sites and stuff like that, so they got very hot, and I would end up spending a lot of the time after the videos feeling like my skin was being burned. I was just like covered in sweat, and that's just from having like one of those on. So I gave up on that. What I use now is natural light. So right now I'm in my living room, and I'm just kind of opposite of our living room window. The window's open, it's a bright sunny day. That's all I'm using for lighting. When I record my typical style, where I'm behind the camera, I do that actually in my kitchen. And the reason for that is we have a kitchen table, but there's also an overhead fluorescent light that helps quite a bit. So I have that on, and if I'm recording during the day, again, I have the curtains drawn there as well. So I don't use fancy lighting. I just use the lights that are in the house and just natural daylight. So again, you don't need to have fancy studio quality lighting. You just need to basically not be in a completely dark and gloomy room. And as far as editing software goes, I use Windows Movie Maker, which was a free download. I don't do anything fancy with my videos. I'm not good at that sort of thing. I taught myself enough to be able to put clips together, have transitions between them, and that's pretty much it. I don't really want to go any further than that. I don't want to have fancy, graphics or stuff like that. That's not who I am. I'm not that kind of person. Even the animated intro that my fiance made for me is kind of over the top. I just wanted to have, initially I just wanted to have sort of like the dice shaking, hitting the table, and then the logo kind of, descending. She actually added the epic sound effects and the fire effects. Like, that was her decision, so that's fine. I do love it. It's still an awesome intro, but that's as fancy as I ever want to get, and I could never achieve that on my own. So if you're looking for, editing equipment, you can download Windows Movie Maker for free if you don't already have it on your computer. So that's all you need. So with that sort of out of the way, I think that, again, that's one of the more intimidating aspects of being on YouTube. One of the things that I want to mention, though, to be very straightforward, honest, and realistic with anybody who wants to make a channel, is if you're doing this as a means of making a permanent full-time income, you're probably looking in the wrong place. I've been doing this for 3 years now, and it's always been a hobby for me. That's why there are times where I would take, extensive breaks, because I just didn't have the energy in me. And again, I looked at it as a hobby, and when the hobby stopped being fun, I needed to take a break from it. Had I not have taken those breaks, I could be a little bit further along than I am now, but I'm personally happy with the way that my channel performs. I don't want it to be, my career, simply because then it stops being fun, and when it stops being fun and you still have to do it because it's your career, I think it loses something. So I would say, basically, if you want to do this, if you want to make YouTube videos, that's awesome. I always recommend and encourage people to make videos, but expect that it's going to be more of a hobby than a job. To go even deeper into it, at this point in time I have a little under 3,000 subscribers, which is way more than I ever thought I would have. I was happy when I exceeded 10, because after 10 I figured it was no longer like my close personal friends and family that felt obligated to subscribe, that I was actually getting genuine subscribers. I was elated when I got to 50 subscribers, the same at 100, and even now, if I gain one subscriber, it's just an amazing feeling. But realistically speaking, I'm still under 3,000 subscribers 3 years into my channel, and even though I only have what could be considered a small amount of subscribers by YouTube standards, huge amount of subscribers by my own personal standards, I still managed to average around 15 to 18,000 video views per month. With monetized videos, you would think that 15 to 18,000 views would be a pretty decent amount of money. Well, it's not. On average, I'm bringing in about $33 a month. Sometimes a little bit more. I have had a couple of months where I ended up getting like $50 worth of ad revenue, which is really kind of insane. But on average, I'm making between $30 to $37 a month. Meaning that with YouTube's payment options, I have to have $100 made up before I get a payout. Now, maybe that's just because I'm Canadian and not based in the US. I don't know if their options are different, to be honest, but I have to have $100 built up in ad revenue before I receive a payment. So, let's just say I'm getting 17,000 views per month. After 3 months, I'm making $100. That's not the kind of money that you can live off of. I recently did start a Patreon account to help fund the channel now that my unemployment payments have dried up, and I'm currently actually sitting at $71 a month through Patreon. So with those numbers, I'm making double what I was making through 18,000 views, 18,000 views a month. So have that as a realistic expectation. If you want to monetize your videos, that's fine. I have nothing against that. I do it myself. I don't blame any channel out there for wanting to monetize. If you want to do that, that's fantastic, but have the realistic expectation that it's going to be a while before you see your first payment, and that you're probably not going to reach the point. You're probably not going to reach the point where you can do this as a full-time job. So, I hate to burst that bubble, but it's something that still makes for an incredible hobby, and that's how I recommend that you do it. That said, you still want your channel to grow, so you started putting out videos. How do you kind of keep the channel going, and how do you engage with, your viewers and your subscribers? The best thing that I can really honestly think of is, if you get comments, do your best to respond to as many of them as you can. Sometimes it could be something as simple as, if they say, cool video, just saying, thanks man, I appreciate it, or, thank you. Just try to get something. Now, I know that there are times where I've missed comments, I haven't gotten notifications about them, or it was on an older video, so like a response to an older comment on an older video, so I just don't really see it when I go to my comment section on my video manager page. And but I still try to make a concerted effort to get back to as many people as possible. I've had people send me messages, which I'm really apologize. It took months because I didn't even know about messages for a while. But try to do your best to respond to people. If people have questions, try to get back to them as quickly as you can, and to give them as good an answer as possible. Just again, try to stay connected with your audience, because when you do that, they may start talking about you, and that may help your channel grow. They could say, if you're doing a subject that they really enjoy, and they're like, talking to their friends, it's like, there's this channel that I just started watching, I love their videos, they're really great, but the cool thing is that they actually will reply to you. So when you, I know that if you make a comment on some of the bigger channels out there, odds are you're not going to get a response. And that's fine, that's understandable. If you're getting, hundreds of comments a day, it's hard to reply to all of them. But if you're getting, 2 or 3 on a video, there's no excuse for not just at least saying, thanks for watching or something. So just kind of keep that in mind. And even sometimes just giving it a thumbs up, at least lets them know that you're paying attention. Last, I guess, piece of advice that I want to give is, what kind of videos should you make? And to be honest, there's so many different topics, so many different styles, that I can't really tell an individual how they should do it. The only advice that I would really give is to be yourself. So many channels out there try to copy what other channels have done in the past. There's so many, angry video game nerd channels out there, or knockoff channels out there that, adding another one to it's not going to help you stand out. And honestly, how many people are actually personally like that? I mean, there probably are a few, but I just think that you should try to be yourself. Know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and kind of use that for the basis of your channel. So for me personally, I am not an actor. I'm monotone, I'm dry, I'm introverted, so for me, trying to do comedy sketches or to create an over-the-top character like an angry video game nerd just isn't me, and I wouldn't be able to pull it off convincingly, so I don't try to. And if, and again, a lot of people aren't going to be, trained actors. They're not going to be people with filmmaking backgrounds like James Rolfe has. So, should you try to copy that, or should you just, hey, do a video where you're just talking about something that you're passionate about? And that's what you should do. You should make videos on subjects that you genuinely care about, because that'll come through, and people will recognize that. If you're doing video game Let's Plays just because Let's Plays seem to be the popular thing, then, but it's not something that you personally care about, people are going to notice that, and, it's just not going to work for you. If you do retro reviews because you love retro games, that's going to come through, and people are going to see that you genuinely care about what you're doing. So I guess that's kind of the last piece of advice that I have, is just, try to be yourself. If you do have an acting background and you want to do skits, then that's awesome, and you should totally do it. If you don't have an acting background, or you don't have that outgoing kind of personality, then do something that plays to what you're good at. I think for me, it's just kind of discussing things the way that I would talk with friends. So if I'm talking about, a new book that came out, I would talk about the strengths and weaknesses or what I liked and didn't like about it on video the same way that I would do it if I was talking about it to a friend. So with all that in mind, again, if you're interested or thinking about making a YouTube channel, you should do it. I mean, even if you just put out a couple of videos to see how it goes, try not to be overwhelmed or intimidated. This channel, even though it's not life-sustaining income, is still one of probably the most fun things I've ever done in my life. It's certainly very rewarding to put a video out, see people's comments, reactions, and just communicate with them. I've actually had a lot of great conversations with people that I've never seen in public or in person that I would never have had under any other circumstance. And even though we've not seen each other in person, and until recently, a lot of people never even knew what I looked like, which probably was better for them, but anyway, I still feel like I've made friendships with some of these, subscribers and viewers and people that I met through having a channel. So it can be one of the most rewarding things that you've ever done. It can be a lot of fun, and if you're thinking about it, again, give it a try. If you find out that you try it and you're not enjoying it and it's not for you, then that's fine. But if you feel like you're being held back because you don't have what channels that have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers are recommending, don't worry about that. Just go out, make videos, have fun, and use it as a way to kind of meet interesting new people. So anyway, I hope that helps somewhat for anyone that's kind of on the fence. And if you decide to make a channel, as somebody who's one of my viewers, let me know about it, because I would love to watch any of the videos that you guys make, and I would definitely subscribe. So if you do decide to make a channel after watching this, please let me know, and I will definitely give you a subscription. So again, thank you guys very much for watching. I just wanted to do something, again, just along those lines, because I think it may be helpful for some people, and we'll see you next time.